Working Perspectives podcast presents Ask AI.
First rule of dealing with a breakup is to project that you, in fact, don't care.
Nope.
And
Didn't
you
care.
never cared. You didn't care the whole time.
Yeah, I thought you just pounded it, right? You stuck as many fingers up there as you could, and you just pounded away, right? You're jackhammering it, like they do on the movie. I had a buddy, oh my God, like saying he would call it blasting. He's like, bro, I'm nice at blasting, bro. I'm so nice at blasting these chicks.
Oh, God bless the kid who talked about. I'm so sweet. I'm so nice.
Yo,
at
bro,
blasting.
I'm so nice, dude. My blasting game is nice, bro. You ever ride your bike to a girl's house to do some blasting? I remember I was riding that Huffy mountain bike, babe. Riding that Huffy mountain bike to get some blasting in, babe. You know? That was growing up in the 90s, though. Riding your bike across town, do some blasting, head on back with some stunk-up handlebars. That was the time, baby!
Enjoy the show. Working Perspectives podcast.
Hello and welcome to the Working Perspectives podcast presents Ask AI. I'm Matt Lavelle, accompanied by the one and only Bern Podcasty. On this show, we'll be asking AI the hard-hitting questions and then debating on if AI truly has all the answers. There is no question too crazy, no inquiry too outrageous, and no query too queer. AI may have all the answers, but we are here to prove that you can't have great answers without great questions. Tonight's question is, what's the best way to get over a breakup? Enjoy the show.
What's the best way to get over a breakup?
All right, we're here. Benoit, how we doing, my man, my compadre?
I'm doing great, man. I'm doing really, really great. How you doing tonight?
I really feel like I put my nuts on the chin of that intro. I really do.
I think you nailed it. I think you absolutely nailed it.
Thanks, bub. Thanks. I couldn't have done it without you. So, tonight's question, we're asking AI, what's the best way to get over a breakup? I'll tell you, I've been dumped aplenty.
Yeah.
And I can't say, you know what, I've been dumped aplenty. I don't know if I've ever really well, yeah. I've broken up with someone, and there's been mutuals, but there's a bunch of different phases to this. A bunch of different time periods, you know, sometimes you're hot, sometimes you're not. Sometimes you stick with something because you're, getting over a losing streak. Sometimes you dive into something right away after something because you don't know what's going on. Dude, there's a whole lot of stuff going on with breakups. Your thoughts?
Yeah, man. I mean, especially, early days. There's a lot of lessons to learn, let's just say. And I was a pretty slow learner, so I had to learn the same lessons over and over and over again until they finally stuck. Yeah, I have tried many different methods and approaches and techniques to getting over breakups over the course of my lifetime, and most of them are absolute horseshit. But you don't know that at the time. You're struggling. You're looking for any ladder to climb. But this will be interesting. I'm interested to see what AI has to say. If there's some foolproof method that I don't know about, I'm gonna feel like a real horse's patoot.
Yeah, if there's something I should have known this whole time, yeah, I agree. I'll tell you though, I mean, there's a bunch of different ways you can go about this. There's a bunch of different things we can look at. Did you ever have a scenario where you had been in a couple relationships and experienced a couple things, and then you get a person that maybe hasn't had as many relationships as you, and you're like, oh, this is the first time they're experiencing this, and I'm an old pro at this, and this is how this is going to work out. You know what I mean?
Sure. Yeah, I think I've been on both sides. I think we've all been
Mm.
on most of us have been on both sides of that, where like, you're like, oh my God, this girl, she's so great, and this is gonna be great forever. And she's just like, you're another sucker, dude. I
Yeah.
will be
Oh,
sick
yeah.
of you in 5 weeks if the clock
I'm
starts
using
now.
you to get over somebody. Yeah, I've been used a plenty. Oh, have I been used a plenty? And sometimes I'm okay with it. But yeah, I don't know. Your thoughts?
Well, that's okay. So let's walk this back, right? Let's go back in time. I think
Okay, so
I
we're gonna
think,
start with the eras of breaking up styles. Okay. Just before we get into this, you might be more experienced in the younger areas than me. Your boy did not do well as a youngster, you know? So go ahead, my friend.
I mean, I took a lot of swings, but I think we all, listen, whether you're 13 or 23 or 40-year-old virgin or whatever, like those first couple relationships are really really dicey,
Yeah.
and they're usually pretty shallow.
Mm-hmm.
Like, this girl thinks I'm cute. Well, I think she's okay. Well, this would be great. And we have nothing to talk about, and we're nervous and we're scared, and and the chemistry's maybe not really there. But now you're like boyfriend and girlfriend in school because, like, what
Yeah.
does that mean? It means you hold hands in the hallway, like in between classes, and that's kind of how it rolls.
Yeah.
And even then, like, I would remember like breaking up with like my sixth grade girlfriend, and our whole relationship was holding hands in the hallway like a couple
Yeah.
times a day. But
I felt like
you
some
know
of those relationships were totally based on status, right? And things like that. I'll tell you,
100%.
there was a guy we had on the show. It was our 300th and 301st episode. His name was Brian Madden. And I wish he was here to talk about this exact subject because he was the king, the reigning, defending, undisputed champion of like the middle school to grade school, dating, whatever. Like he like since like fourth grade or whatever was that spin around the local skating rink, just skating it up. He was there. Always wearing, I remember he was rocking his chaps or his Ralph Lauren or his Tommy Hilfiger, rocking it up, wearing some either some, Adidas tearaway pants, right? Some windbreaker
Different biddy
pants
on
and
his
a
arm.
polo.
Every birthday party, there's a different biddy
Dude,
on his arm. The
he
old
was
biddy of
like
the week.
there every Friday night, man. He was there skating it up. He was like the king of spin around. He legit like every girl wanted to date him. He did like I was very envious of his grade school escapades, we'll say. I mean like that didn't end in grade school. He stays crushing. But yeah, no, he like, he was the one like, kissing all these girls and doing all this stuff and like dating for status. Like he dated everybody. He was the man.
Well, I always found, like, I think in my middle school you had like, it was pretty small. I think there were like 60 kids in my grade. You know what I
Okay.
mean? So like,
Yeah.
and half of them
We
were,
had like 100.
yeah, half of them were dudes. So like the pool is
Right.
pretty small.
Yeah.
Um, and so yeah, there's a lot of like 3 week relationships of like, the holding
Big
the hand
time.
in the hallway and whatever. But I think
Yeah.
that, the problem with that is especially when you start these relationships young, it's all public. It's all about like, everyone's like, oh, did you hear so and so? Or and these two are holding hands now and they sit together
Yeah.
on the bus or whatever, which
Yeah.
inevitably means that like when this thing that isn't really that meaningful ends, that's really public too. So
Mm-hmm.
I know, like, for me, my first go-to back in the day, and I'm not going to say that I only use this in middle school. I probably use this in, all throughout, but most heavily back in the middle school, high school days is I don't care.
Yeah.
I don't care.
Yeah.
First
Yeah.
rule of dealing with the breakup is to project that you, in fact, don't care,
Nope.
and
Didn't
you
care.
never cared. You didn't care
Yeah.
the whole time.
And you've
Barely
moved
even
on.
noticed it.
Bern,
Didn't even
and you moved
register.
on. Yeah. And you already have somebody else, and you're just like, yeah, I didn't even really like her. I was just with her, because her dad is a pool.
Right. And I
Right.
was always like, I'm not gonna be mean or say anything unless she got mean, and then you're like, her breath smelled. You know what I mean? But it's one of those things where it's like, I don't like you gotta be, everyone's instinct is to protect that public ego. So I think everyone's initial move early on is we have two people. You have the person who is like, woe is me,
Yeah.
emo, like,
Yeah.
I'm gonna die. I love her so
Yeah.
much. And
Yeah.
then I think, and that goes for male or female. And
True.
then you have, which was a more popular in my school, was the psh, whatever, dude. I don't even like her
Yeah.
to begin with. She's not even that cool
So,
anyway.
but that was kind of like maybe you would get a smooch, maybe you'd get a boob cop, but like that's when you're like ninth grade, you're copping boob. Dude, I remember this too. Do you remember fingering girls, right? Do you remember like that was like such a thing? You
I
know?
I
That was
can't
such
imagine. Listen, I'm not gonna sit here and say that I'm some kind of like magic touch, Casanova Lothario, but I can't imagine looking back on what I thought I was supposed to do versus what I eventually learned was
Oh my
semi-pleasurable
God.
for a female.
Oh
I
my
can't imagine
God.
how unpleasant that was for any one of them. I
Dude.
think I really thought I was doing like a swell job, and I gotta
Yeah.
give some. I mean, I'm not gonna drop any names here, but there's a couple girls out there that I really appreciate them not just laughing in my face and being like, "What in the
Oh
name
my
of God do
God.
you think this process is?" Because
Dude.
I didn't know,
Yeah.
but yeah, that was the
I
the
still
whole
don't
the
know.
whole
What
I
are you
mean,
even doing? You
the
know?
hand the hand stuff, I mean, but I think the hand stuff is clumsy for everyone involved at that age because they
Yeah.
don't know. They don't know either, and you're
And
like
they're
you're
also like,
squeezing it,
should
and
this
you're like,
feel
"What's the?"
good? And yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I listen, that's part of the process, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, I sometimes cringe when I think about like what I thought was probably like, you know, pleasurable to a female, in like high school and stuff like that versus what
Yeah.
like I found out later on how the anatomy actually works. And you're like, oh, I wasn't doing any of that.
Yeah.
I was,
Yeah.
I, speed is not my
Dude,
friend. Oh,
dude,
fool
I
me. I thought the faster the
remember.
better.
Yeah, I thought you just pounded it, right? You stuck as many fingers up there as you could and you just pounded away, right? You're jackhammering it like they do on the movies. Dude, I remember I had a buddy, oh my God, like saying he would call it blasting. He's like, bro, I'm nice at blasting, bro. I'm so nice at blasting these chicks. I'm like, dude,
Oh, God bless the kid who talked
uh,
about, I'm so sweet. I'm so nice
yo,
at
bro, I'm
blasting.
so nice, dude. My blasting game is nice, bro. And I'm like, all right, guy.
Oh,
I mean, dude, yeah, I mean, we've all been there, dude. I would say no. And also, I was like, come on, let's do the real thing here, you know? And I don't know,
yeah.
but at that age, though, you just want to touch and put your hands and mouths
Well,
everywhere. You know what I
listen,
mean?
that's natural, right? That's
Yeah.
exploratory. But yeah, but I think, yeah, I think at least for me, and I think I could say it for a lot of people that
How
those
how old were
early,
you when you started fooling around like that? I mean, let's say past kissing and like touching stuff. Let's say blasting age. When were you of blasting age, Bern?
uh, probably like eighth grade. I think
Mm.
probably like,
That's when I
yeah.
mean I had
I think
friends
I
that
think I
started blasting around then, ninth, 10th, 8th. I mean, well,
I
I
think
don't know. Blasting, I guess, was more 10th grade, I think, became more blasting heavy. And, yeah, but yeah, no, yeah, I think
well,
the
don't forget,
first,
I went to Catholic school, so where
yeah,
the more you try to repress it, the more it wants to get out.
I guess I was in 10th grade the first time I fingered a chick. Yeah, you
Yeah.
know,
So well, let's say eighth or ninth grade, somewhere right around there. Like,
yeah, dude.
but
No, honestly, no,
um,
actually, I was in 11th grade. First time I did. I was a late bloomer, man, you know? But
bro,
also,
how old
like,
were you when you started blasting?
bro, I started blasting a little later, bro. Dude, my blasting game was nice, though. I legit tried to give them a freaking, Enema.
Oh,
Uh,
oh,
but yeah,
oh.
dude, I remember that was the thing. Like you would finger a girl, like that was like, oh God, should I even say that? Ugh. I remember you would use your hands with a lady. But like, dude, bro,
Uh,
awful, right? Just
manual
awful.
stimulation.
Yeah. And like, dude, boobs. Oh, boobs. Boobs. Yeah. Boobs and, some sweet old back porch. But then like that was fun, like yeah, that was like I think everyone was kind of doing that stuff. And then like you had girls that like, I don't know. Dude, like there was girls like you would do stuff to and whatever, but then there was girls that would sleep with you and then there's girls that wouldn't. I remember I was torn between like these two girls and I was like, dude, I just want to like have a bunch of banging. You know what I mean? So I picked the one that was bang heavy. You know what I mean? And then I was like, my dad is not letting me be bang heavy. So I left there and went back to my mom's and I was like, my mom doesn't give a shit who's here and what we're doing, just as long as no one gets pregnant. And that's what we did. A lot of that. Dude, that was the best too, like legit all we like where it's like your whole relationship at that point was just to have sex, Like you would party, hang out, and like just, everyone was having sex, you know? And like I had a
I think
house
that,
too where it's like you could hang out, party, and do all those things.
yeah, I didn't have one of those.
Yeah.
I took everything. Everything was a road game for me. But yeah, I think about like the amount of time and effort and like
Oh,
planning and
oh.
like scrounging for gas money and like
Mm-hmm.
deals and like listen, if you give me a lift here, like I will sell my soul if you can give me a ride to this party within the next
Can,
20 minutes. Like I will owe you a tow. You know what I mean? Like
can I
nothing
ask
is
you
going to
this,
stop me from
Bern?
getting there.
Did
Sure.
you ever did you ever ride your bike to a girl's house to do some blasting? I remember
Hopped on
I
that.
was riding that Huffy mountain bike, babe. Riding that
I did
Huffy mountain bike to get some blasting in, babe. You know?
that. I had some triumphant rides home on that on my Mach 1. You know, where you're just
He's
standing the
like,
whole
these
time.
these handlebars stink. These fucking handlebars fucking Yeah, dude.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Oh
man.
yeah.
Dude, that was growing
Glory
up in the
days.
90s though. Riding your bike across town, do some blasting, head on back with some stunk up handlebars. That was the time, baby. Woo!
Oh,
If
I'm
that
not
if
gonna be
that
able to
ain't
get
the
like
if that ain't the 90s, I don't know what is.
I don't wanna know. I don't wanna know.
Man, I don't know. Yeah, what the hell? No, I mean, duh. Yeah, that's the time.
What was our topic? What was our topic of the show?
Yeah, breaking up.
Real
Yeah.
breakup.
Do a little bird walking. Okay, so we're talking breakups, right? So I feel like you're right. A lot of the breakups in the younger middle school age was all about status. And then I feel like in the high school years, it really became more promiscuous, would be the breakup. You know what I'm saying? Like, one is a lot more impassioned arguments. Like, I remember later in life, like when I was a little older, like I would notice like this person maybe didn't have as much relationship experience because we would get in these type of arguments, and I'd be like, this is really kind of like it is kind of like high school shit. You know what I mean? Like for lack of a better term, but that's really what it was. It was the kind of shit we did in high school. So I was like, all right, let's just get past this and let's just have some more sex and we'll be okay. And that's kind of just what it was. And it was just
Well, it's based on experience, right? So I mean, like,
yeah,
it takes like those arguments you're having in like, in like your first like let's say your first heartbreak or whatever. Someone's just like, I don't want to be with you. And you're like, shut up. I want to be with you. So like, I mean, listen, I always credit it to like, the day that I grew up and like realized that the world wasn't fair and the world didn't owe me anything
yeah,
was Joe Carter's home run. I was
93.
11 years old
Yeah,
and my favorite team was playing in the World Series
yeah,
and I knew that they were going to win because they were
Yeah.
my favorite team. I used to hang my pajamas up on a Phillies helmet with my name on it. You know
Mhm.
what I mean? I was crazy about the Phils, and it was now was their time, and I knew they were going to
Yeah.
win.
Yeah.
And then that home run happened in Game 6, and that's when I
And Joe
realized the
Carter
world
can
isn't
shove it.
fair.
No.
It
Yeah.
doesn't know me anything, and there's not
It
always
is
going to be a happy ending.
It was even less fair because if you recall, the following year there was a strike, so they took our other like. I remember Pete McCormick's dad used to say he stopped watching baseball at from '94 to 2007 because he said '94 they took away his World Series because he thought that the Phils were primed to go
Team
back,
was
which they
actually,
they
yeah,
they
they were.
were. Yeah. They were all back,
Um,
they were all ready to go. But yeah, no. I'll say this, Bern, is that I think like you're saying, you find out the world isn't fair. I think eventually a guy, if he wants to not be taken advantage of, has to come to the realization that when like at some point has to not be nice to women in a way, right? Like I feel like if you're a guy and you want to date chicks, right? You cannot be the nicest guy ever to them. You can't. Like, cause they'll take advantage of you, at least in that age. And I feel like I found that out the hard way, right? Cause I legit would be like the nicest guy. You know what I mean? And like the nicest guy. And then I just remember, and I remember who did it to me is that I just got walked on for the last time. Like I was so upset. And then after that, I was like, okay, I'm gonna be a dick to girls now. You know what I mean? Like I'm just gonna be a jerk to them. And it ended up like really working, But it's like you can't be nice. Like you have to be a jerk at times because they'll walk all over you. They really will. There was this girl that like I guess it hurt me, right? And because I was just too nice. Like, and there had been opportunities for me to not be the nice guy and kind of get my kick, like get like my end of the deal out of it. And like she probably would have liked me better had I not been so nice to her. You know what I mean? Like I was overly nice, and it's not sycophantish, but you do become kind of a noodle, and like you just at some point have to be like, all right, we can be cool, but you won't be taken advantage of anymore. And I think she was the one that did it to me, and I just remember like talking to Tom about it, and he's like, yeah, well, it just shows how nice you are. Like you just shouldn't be. She didn't deserve for you to be that nice to her. And then like looking back at it, he's right. But it is what it is. But then after that, you get hardened to the business, so you'd say, and then that's when you see a whole world of possibilities open up. You
Well,
know?
here's the thing. I think there's something to be said about that too. Like, and I know things are ever changing or whatever, but like, at least in our day growing up, like the sexual power dynamic was like guys chase and girls decide. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? Like,
yeah,
and so as a dude, um, you know, listen, I was in situations, in high school and stuff where like everything would be great and I'd think everything was going well. But then I'd get dumped, for the kid who went to juvie because he went to juvie.
oh
You
yeah,
know what I mean? Like, and that guy was
dude.
just he was so mysterious and dark and
And
bad,
he smoked cigarettes
Oh, he smoked
twice.
so many cigarettes. Yeah, exactly. And so, I had a running joke with like I had a English teacher like my senior year of high school. I had a running joke with about like that because I just kept dating the same girl and she just kept dumping me for jerk offs, and I just kept dating her. Like she would jump me for a jerk off, and then I would date somebody else, and then she'd be like, "I'm sorry, I dumped you for this jerk off," and I'd be like, "I guess it's cool, we can date again." And then she dumped me again. It was a hilarious cycle that went on for like like most of high school and then like a little bit of college.
Yeah,
It was wild. But
yeah,
you learn your lesson and you hope that it doesn't harden you too much. But in that situation, I would try to use another technique, which we all know very well, which is the rebound technique. You know what I mean? Which is like
ooh
as soon
yeah.
as you get dumped, you're out there on the market just trying
What's
to.
what's the saying? Best way to get over someone is to get under somebody else, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Very true. Very,
And
very true.
and it makes a. I get it. Um, because like getting dumped is really hard on your ego.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, I want to be with this person and I'm not, they don't think I'm good enough to be with them. So it is a self-esteem thing. And so I get the whole idea of the rebound of like you would just immediately want to find someone who's like, I think you're fine. Like,
Yeah.
okay, great. Like I need to build this ego back up. And I'm not saying ego in a bad way. I'm just saying like, okay, well, like my pride is hurt. So
Yeah.
what's the best way to get my pride back up is to find somebody who is going to validate that.
But I mean, dude, like I feel like you went from like like the pre-drinking dating stages of where you're listening to emo music and writing whatever and doing all like this meaningful like gestures and everything like that and being ultra romantic and stuff to like where you started to drink and party and whatever, where you're like, all right, well, I don't need this, I could go somewhere else and just party and do whatever. You know what I mean? Like I agree with you where it's like, you didn't want to get hurt, but then you would run the risk of like you would eventually hurt somebody else, and then there's like certain things like you would want someone, but maybe it wasn't the right time and you'd have to wait or I don't know. It would just awkward things would happen, I think, like that. But I think one of the cool things I don't know. One of the cool things about working in a bar or in a restaurant industry, and I think we were fortunate because when we were in our 20s, right, we worked at a bar or bar slash restaurant that it was in between like three major colleges,
Yep,
right? And it was in a very rich area, and it was a very large building that had a very large staff. So there was like what, 30 servers, 15
sure.
cooks,
Yeah.
five bartenders, some hostesses, you know
Mhm.
what I mean? And like bus food runners and bus boys, like, so like it had a big staff of like young kids that wanted to hang out, party, mess around, do like get into some stuff, and like that opened up a lot of things too where like you learn the hard way of like don't shit where you eat, you know what I mean? And like or like you'd be working with someone and like maybe one night you're like, man, I'm feeling this person, and then you would hook up, and then it'd be like, okay, maybe I wasn't feeling that person like I thought I was. You know what I mean? And like you could do that, and like but you could be, it was like a place where you could be young and like if like young and experimental, you know?
Well, everybody was kind of in right. For the most part, everybody was kind of in the same boat. You know what I mean? You have a lot of people who are either finishing up school and they don't know what they're going to be, pretty much you're working with a whole staff of people and none of them know what they're going to be doing in 18 months from now.
True.
So no
Yeah.
one's making any super long-term plans. Now that's not to say that things can't get dicey in those situations because, you can have a bad breakup with somebody that, for example, maybe you have to like start changing the schedule because they don't want to work
Oh
shifts with you
boy.
anymore. Or like,
Oh boy.
these things do happen. And again, it's a learning experience, man. Like you do learn, like, okay, well, there's this whole pool of people around my age at work that seems like a great idea. But like, I'm going to be here 5 days a week, like 10 hours
Yeah.
a day. Like,
Yeah.
and if things go bad, there's really, I mean, it's a big building, but it's not that big.
Nope.
Um,
I'll say this though. Like I did kind of like I would have a girlfriend that would live, like where I was living and where I worked were over an hour away from each other, right? Well, like an hour train ride. It was like 40 minutes by car. But either way, it wasn't like near each other. So I didn't really work with a lot of people that would know the girl I was dating. So like I remember telling you like we'd be working at the bar, I'd be dating a girl, I would cheat on her, and then I would tell her like, dude, I've never been so in love with my girlfriend as right after I cheated on her, because that I was just like, you know I was like, I can't do that again, and then I would do it again, but it was just like, you feel like at that point you should break up with somebody because you shouldn't be doing that to somebody, but on the other side, you're young and you're stupid and you want to party and you want to do all these things, and like, booze and drugs does weird things to people where you want to make these mistakes where you should be breaking up with someone and you don't?
that's a really good point, actually, is like, you think about all of like the drama associated with your relationships, like
Ugh.
as time went on, and it's like, man, if we just leveled with each other,
Yeah.
like would have saved myself or the other person or both of us like a lot of time and a lot of heartache and a lot of like, I can't believe you would like people are young and people are going to do stupid things and make stupid mistakes. And
Ye-
like, yeah, you're right. If you're cheating on your girlfriend, like it's easy to look back now and be like, man, I wouldn't have made her my girlfriend if I didn't like her. So why was
Yeah.
I doing shitty stuff to her? I should have just left her out, let her off the hook and been like, listen, I'm not,
Or
I don't
like
want
you
to do this stuff.
should have done like a thing and been like, look, we can be together, right? You can do whatever with other people. I'll do whatever with other people. I just don't want to hear about it, and I won't tell you about it, and we'll just pretend like it's not happening.
Well, again, like that's
Which
at
is
least,
kind of like what was going on, because I'm sure she was doing
yeah.
shit too. You
Yeah,
know?
and that's just being honest with your expectations, right? You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like that's just being
Yeah.
like, although I will say, and here's another thing that will trip you up, especially in these situations too. It's like, okay, you're wrapped up, you're hanging out in a big group of people, you're dating someone, right? Let's say you're really into this person and it doesn't work out. Now what do you do? Right? Because
Ooh.
they're around at work, they're around your social circle, they're around whatever.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, and so I think, and then as you get older, you learn like I think an actually effective method of trying to get over a breakup is you gotta change your routine, right?
Mm.
You can't keep doing the same stuff you were constantly doing because then it doesn't even matter. Like, go do something you don't even like. Just be like, I want to
Yeah.
take an archery class every Tuesday night
Yeah.
because I wasn't doing
Yeah.
that when I was dating this person. And now, like, I'm doing something different. I'm meeting different people. You branch out a little bit. If you're like me and my girl went to Antonio's Pizza every Friday night, now I'm gonna go there every Friday night, and I'm just gonna be sad and crying to my meatball parmesan. Like, you know, you're
You're
lumping
never
yourself,
getting over it.
you're sticking yourself into that situation. Like, and listen, it can suck. Like, you can be living with somebody. You know what I mean? Like, there's a lot of stuff where you're like, man, I'm gonna have to change my whole like life around. But
Yeah.
if it's people, places, and things, man. If you're hanging with the same people at the same places doing the same things, what chance do you have of like
None.
getting over that heartache or that awkward situation?
Yeah. No, you're right. So, okay, let's keep it moving. Let's ask AI what they think about this. So, we've talked about, a couple of things about getting over a breakup. You get with someone else, you move on, you change your routine, a couple of things like that. But let's see what AI has to say. Bern, do you have any idea? Where do you
Uh,
think AI is going to go with this? Do you think they're going to go like, because when we've asked
hmm.
AI these type of things before, they've been very like, regimental and like ba 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 ba. What do you think they'll go more to an emotional way? Does AI have that ability to sense emotion or feel
See,
emotion or work with emotions?
that's what I'm interested in here. If AI is just going to say something like every relationship is different and every person is different and everybody needs
Yeah.
something different or whatever, or
According
if
to
they're
the
going
book
to
by Francis Boobadoo. Yeah. Yeah.
right, or if it's going to realize that there's nuance to heartache and there's
Mm.
nuance to like you know you know there's growth that comes even if you're not happy about the way things go. Hey, did you learn something? Did you do something shitty to someone else that made you feel bad and you learned something from that? Did somebody do something shitty to you? Okay, well, you learned something from that too. Like, I want to see if AI has any nuance or if they're just like go out and have sex with a stripper. Like,
Yeah.
I don't think that's
Yeah.
going to be the answer. But
No. So, okay. Well, let's see what AI has to say. So, I said, this is what I said. I said, hello, AI. Can you please tell me what's the best way to get over a breakup? Okay. And then this was AI's response. They said, healing from a breakup takes time and everyone's experience is unique. However, there are some general strategies that can help you cope and move forward. First thing they said, Bern, and we did not mention this at all, and I think it's because we were men and we were focused on blasting. First thing they told us was, they said, allow yourself to feel. Embrace your emotions. It's okay to feel sad, anger, confused. Don't suppress your feelings. Bottling them up can prolong the healing process. They're not wrong there. They're not wrong there. How many times, like, I know as a man, they're right, where it's like you did have these feelings and maybe you internalize them, but then you would go like blow off and have a rager, right? And maybe a bender for a couple days. And then like after that, you're like, okay, I was able to get all this out. I had a big emotional spat, whatever. Like, did you ever get into one of those?
Yeah, for sure. And I think that does connect a little bit to what we were talking about with the early ones, like pretending you don't care is like the wrong thing to do, right? To be like,
Yeah,
I have no emotions and I'm a robot and that doesn't affect
yeah.
me at all. And like ultimately you're just peacocking for the public, but like
Hmm.
that's not helpful at all. You're still you
Yeah,
know what's going on in your head. You're like, I don't
yeah.
even care who's she talking to.
Yeah, yeah. Following her, on Facebook or whatever and all the other socials and be like, what's going on? What is it? Who did she like? What? How's she talking to? Blah blah blah. Yeah, I'm with you. I mean, that's just how it goes. I mean, hey, that's the world we're living in. You know what I mean? I remember I had a buddy who dated a girl who she would like get off on like making him cry, like making him so upset that he would cry. And like as soon as he did that, she was like, "All right, we're cool. I'm sorry." And then they would go bang, And I was like, "This sick,
Oh,
twisted freak just wants
that's
to
a
like,
that's a that's a tough kink, man. That's a tough kink to be on the other
like
end of.
it's like really it's emotional abuse,
It is
But
emotional abuse, yeah.
they're right. Allow yourself to feel. Let's do the second thing AI says. So when asking
Easier said than
AI,
done, AI. Easier
yeah,
said than
yeah,
done.
for sure. I don't know. I think women maybe have a better support system to do that with. Like, I think for guys, it's just like a guy would be like, shucks, bub. But for a girl, they'd be like, girls, girls, please, to the rescue. And they need to do their mani petty thing and all that kind of stuff, Like they would have girl time and get their stuff in.
It's probably why women are, like, in general, more, like, emotionally in tune with their own feelings than dudes are because
Yeah,
they're
that's that's
they're
for
kind of
damn sure.
allowed to be.
Yeah. Okay. So again, we asked AI what's the best way to go over a breakup. The second thing they said was build a support system. Talk to friends and family. Sharing your feelings can be incredibly helpful. Join support groups. Connecting with people who are going through similar experiences can provide comfort. I don't know. I mean, a breakup so bad that you need a support group. Oof. Yeah, I could see it. I could see it
I mean,
happening.
I'm sure that is helpful. How realistic is it that you're 17 years old and you're like, "I need to find a support group for this."
Yeah. I mean, I bet nowadays it's more realistic because everyone
Sure,
nowadays is a
yeah, that's
huge
true.
cunt noodle. But, I mean, back in the day, that just did not exist, dude. Especially not
And
for
I'm not saying
guys.
like the "Oh, sucks, bro, suck it up." Like, that's not
Yeah.
helpful either, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That just teaches you how to bury and bury and bury and bury your
Yeah.
feelings until,
Yeah. I do feel like there is that guy thing of like I think guys have a mutual support for another guy if they're going through a breakup where it's like you see a guy and like maybe you're giving him shit and he's like, "Bro, my girl just dumped me." And you're just like right away you're like, "Oh, all right. This guy's needs help." Like
yeah.
at least for the next hour. We're not going to bust his
Yeah.
stones completely,
Listen, man,
you know.
I'm here for you as long as we don't have to exchange a single detail about it. Just know that I silently have your back.
Also, she's single now, right? That's the other
Yeah,
thing too.
that's
There's
the
a
other thing
code.
too, man.
There's a
There's
big code
there's
on
no
that.
code. There is no code. There is no code. All is fair in love and war. Believe me, as the younger you are and the more those hormones are pumping, your best friends will ravage your ex-girlfriend if she opens the door.
Yeah, true. Oh
It's
no,
it's
yeah. I mean, to an extent, like I've
to an extent.
never, yeah, like I would never like my best friends and like brothers and stuff like as soon as like I've always felt like as soon as they started dating a girl, I'm like, all right, well that girl's now a dude. Like there is that level of like if this person's dating someone, they're now a dude. And like I will never look at them in a sexual way or whatever again. And they'll now we're just like cool, right? But there's some other guys that you're like, yeah, we're cool, but like, yeah, when she's single and she wants his fucking to
You're
get
better you're
blasted,
better than most, Maddie. You're better than most.
I mean, yeah, no, I'm not to say I haven't done it. Kool-Aid's on that, but it's just it's just a thing. It's just a thing, you son of a bitch. But no, yeah, you're right. Well, I feel like that's how you know like a true friend too. Obviously,
Sure.
like there's like girls that you just don't. I don't know. I don't know. That's my thought at
Well,
least. Right?
it's a learning thing too, man. Like, am I gonna be, if it happened when I was 14, am I gonna be as mad about it as if somebody bangs my wife at 42? Like, no, I'm gonna be way more mad at Murph if he bangs my wife now than I would have been if he made out with my girlfriend when I was 14. Like, you
Right.
know what I mean? Like, so there is,
Yeah.
you gotta give everybody some grace in their youth
Yeah.
of just
Also,
making bad
fighting over a
hormone-based
girl.
decisions.
Oh my God. Yuck. So yeah, we asked AI what's the best way to get over a breakup. The next thing they said was focus on self-care. This is a big one. Prioritize physical health, exercise, proper nutrition, and enough sleep are essential. Practice mindfulness and relaxation. Techniques like meditation and deep breathing can help manage stress. And indulge in hobbies. Rediscover old passions, explore new ones. So I agree with this. That's one thing. Like when you see someone go through a breakup, right? And then they drop a quick 25, you know what I'm saying? Then you're like, okay, and honestly too, like I bet that's been for getting back together or, breakup, makeup, you know what I mean? Like I bet a lot of makeups have happened after the whole, getting better shape after getting dumped kind of thing, right?
Well, you know what, too, and I think we talked about this before too, right? It's a shot to your ego, it's a shot to your pride, it's rejection, right? It's someone saying like, "You're not
Yeah.
good enough for me." So
Yeah.
yeah, I think no matter what, something to rebuild self-esteem there is like necessary. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
you gotta make sure your mental is on, and you gotta be like, okay, it's easy to be like, there's plenty of fish in the sea, and like, yeah, logically, that, but
Yeah.
that's not what it feels like at the time.
Yeah. So either way, prioritizing physical health is huge, big time. Let's create another thing that AI suggests when the best ways to get over a breakup says create distance, limit contact with your ex. This can help prevent emotional turmoil, avoid places and activities associated with a relationship, create new routines and memories. Yeah, we discussed, not shitting where you eat, right? That's a big thing that happens in the restaurant bar industry. Everyone dates each other and stuff like that. So I don't know how many relationships I've seen in restaurants and bars, dude. I don't know. Like it's countless. And unless they're married or get married or whatever, it does not end well.
No sleep until action.
AI also suggests the best way to get over a break would be to reflect on the relationship, learn from the experience and to grow as a person, and then set new goals. Focus on your personal professional aspirations. And then it also says give yourself time. Be patient with yourself. Recognize your progress and achievements. Celebrate small victories. Yeah. And it also says, shove off. We're coming towards the top of time, Bern. We are. We're coming towards the top of time. Is there anything you would like to say to your family, friends, or anybody out there before we get up out of here?
Listen, to those I may have loved and lost. If anybody out there is listening, if I was a dick, I apologize. I almost certainly didn't mean it. Um, most of the time, and
Yeah.
I've learned and grown from all these experiences, and hopefully, I don't need to go seek out a support group anytime soon.
Yeah. So either way, speaking of how stupid I am, this has been another episode of the Working Perspectives podcast presents Ask AI. In case you're wondering, you can find all our stuff and all our content on all podcast platforms and YouTube at Work Perspectives Podcast. You also on Instagram at Work Perspectives Podcast, and join us on Twitter at WorkingPod. And if you'd like to be a guest on the show, can you please email us at workperspectives@gmail.com, and please like and subscribe, and we'll keep bringing you this sweet, sweet content. Thank you for listening. Have a great weekend. Thanks. See ya.
Working Perspectives Podcast.
Here they come, Philadelphia, on the run, stand up and cheer.
Instagram.